checking out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark. Sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark.
All right, it is the Hump-Day edition of the program. Good morning. How are you? Hope everybody's doing well. That's Henry the Camel, by the way. Welcome. Good morning, Stephen. How are you? Primo? Nerman? Everybody who's here. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Good morning, Christian. How are you? Got a lot going on today. Keon Brown joins us at 6:30. The coach, David Mabry, joins us coming up a little bit later on. And Bob Black, the voice of the Richmond Spiders, here today on a Wednesday. Help you slide on through very well. It's good stuff today. Let's see here. What time is I sent him the invite. 7:15 for Coach Mabry. Here you go. Love it. Love it. Well, you might be able to, Bubba, so I hope it works out for you. just don't post too many details. That's Henry the Camel, by the way. Henry the Camel. All right, let's get everything ready to go here. All right. Don't forget professional door. What happened there? Let's see. There we go. Professional Door Incorporated. We just had a reboot there for no apparent reason. So that's why I had to make sure we're good to go. We've talked about them celebrating 40 years in business here in the month of July. So they want to make sure they schedule you for preventative maintenance on your garage doors. I know a lot of people that have issues with their garage doors over time. It just happens, and they'll take care of you. Give Travis a call, 674-0008 up in Dublin. And all you have to do is schedule your appointment for whenever, but it has to be done during the month of July. And to get your $40 right off the top off, you've got to mention that you heard us talking about it here on the program. No kidding. There you go. Look at Christian. Nobody does it better than Professional Door. So he knows. He knows. So reach out to Travis and let them take care of you. Very nice people. And if you haven't used them before, you'll never use anybody else again once you bring them in to fix your door or to get it just updated, whatever it needs to do so you don't have long-term problems. They're the best. And don't forget, at the NRB Super Bowl, we're going to be there July the 18th. It'll be here before you know it, a week from this Saturday for the BDST Bash starting at 6. Thanks to Morris for everything. And give them a call anytime, 540-382-5525. Midnight Madness on the weekends. It's awesome. What's up, Latine? Good to see you. Good morning. Thank you, the Real Bros. I would love to do that. I would love to be a voice actor. It's funny you say that. I would love to be somebody who's like written into cartoons to do voices. I've always wanted to do that. Always wanted to do that. Give James Lawson a call. He's going to be at the Bash, I understand. 300 North Franklin Street. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Parts for your windows, your doors, plumbing. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. Yeah. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. I'm hoping to get up there tomorrow to check out the Sportsplex and take some video, and we'll put it up on the channel. Looking forward to that. Our BDST fan question of the week brought to you by the attorney, Ryan Pry. It's been good. We picked out which sport you would like to hear me call or which event you'd like to hear me call. Curling is winning far, far and away over everything else. What's up, Donna? I hope you're well. So yeah, curling is what everybody's picking. We've had like 22 votes for me to call curling. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Get your air units checked out and updated. My exclusive banking partner, the show's exclusive banking partner. I've been with National Bank for about 35 years. They're the best, thanks to Larry Ramsey. Terrific folks at National Bank that made my refinancing easy. Sundown Electric, 5-star reviewed unanimously customer business. The Smith Brothers down in Elliston. Satisfied clients, pick them out. There's so many. Go read the reviews. Superior craftsmanship, attention to detail. Very honest folks that do their work, and they try to keep down the cost as low as possible. ReadySetFund.com is Bob Christ, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. It's a series of text messages. It's a great program. Go to the website, read up on it, and you can earn money within 5 days, Monday through Friday. Floyd County Girls Softball raised $4,300 to get new uniforms and equipment. How about that for this past softball season? That's amazing to me. Absolutely amazing to me. But they're the real deal. They are the real deal. McClellan Chiropractic, where I'm going today, sponsor our chat room. Mark Hundley, 155 Walters Drive. So today I'm hoping to get footage of me on the machines. We'll post it up on the channel for Mark. And then, of course, every day, Family Fencing sponsors our studios here in Ryder. Thanks to Jason Green. Get a free quote, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrb.com. A rising business, and they were the very first folks to jump on our program, which is awesome. What's up, Sarnish? I'm your neighbor. Well, come by and say hello. Who do I think, Christian, will be in the ACC? All the new folks, please subscribe. I'm doing well, Latine. I hope you are. I guess I would pick Miami just because based off of last year. But see, that's where you get into trouble. I'm not sure what they have. I know they're going to have talented players and they spent a lot of money, but Miami would be, I think, the easy pick for everyone. I'm in agreement with other folks who've been on the program. Clemson is kind of a, I don't know about Clemson yet. I think Coach Grantham said on, Monday, it's just Clemson is just, they have not, it's very strange that a program with so much tradition that did so much winning when they had Trevor Lawrence, it's strange how they have not in any way, shape, or form latched onto the portal era. And that was because of Dabo. And then once they have, I don't think they know how to evaluate yet, if that makes any sense. So I think Clemson's kind of in a very tenuous situation, to be honest with you. People seem to love Pitt. I haven't done any research yet. So we'll see what's going on with Pitt. We try to smile a lot. We do. From Route 8 in Ryder, where married life is grand, I believe the Watsons are having more fun than two lovebirds can stand. BDSD's alive and well. Look at you, Morris. Yeah, it's been good. We're in a month and 2 days. So, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Got a great card. We didn't open it until yesterday because I didn't get it. It was sent to my other neighbors. So Louise Baker sent this wonderful card with a nice little gift in there. So thanks to Louise. I have to reach out to her today. Sometimes that happens with, the mail delivery. Right? Sometimes that happens. So, Christian, I'm kind of thinking right now Miami. I don't know about Georgia Tech's got to replace Haynes Keene, but I think their coaching staff is pretty solid. I think they've adapted well to the new era. We can't leave out Virginia completely. I think people, again, I know it's natural. People in Blacksburg and Tech fans not to want to give Virginia their flowers, but we've heard already they have the best offensive line coming back in the league. They've got a line that Virginia Tech would absolutely love to be able to say that they had at their disposal, and they don't. And when you start that strong, and I've heard really good things about the Perbola kid, their quarterback, that they went and got out of Missouri. Hey, Hilary, glad you're back. Good to have you back. Welcome. I just don't think you can just write Virginia off. And I know people want to say their schedule was bad. And, whatever it was, they can't control their conference schedule. Look, for whatever reason you want to try to dismiss it, they set a record last year with 11 wins. They had their all-time best season. They're coming off their all-time best season. it's hard, unless you're just bitter, to criticize a program that just won 11 games, especially if you're a fan of a team that just went 3-9. I think Tony Elliott, I wasn't sure how that was going to go. I have a lot of respect for the man, what he got them through. And I've said this a lot on the old radio show, and I've said it a lot since we came back 11 months ago. But here on YouTube, boy, it blows my mind. We're coming up on a year. Wow. What he got that program through after the shootings, man deserves a lot of respect. He was tremendous during that time for his young people and for those families. I think Tony Elliott's a terrific man. I think he's got all the right things about him, and he proved he is one heck of an evaluator, he and his staff, out of the portal. And what Coach Elmo has said about UVA, they were able to keep their coaches. Maybe because of everything they went through, there's a little tighter knit there, but they were able to do that from one year to the next. So they get as little respect as anybody. And I guess it's, a lot of it is they lost the ACC championship game. I completely understand. I understand that they had a shot to be in the playoff, and they blew it. They lost to Duke. Should have been Miami and UVA. So my comment is this. We don't know how things are going to play out, which is what's exciting about each football season. The ACC, I didn't think I didn't think Duke and Virginia would be the two teams we were watching in Charlotte. And so it might be two completely different programs we're not thinking about. Could Tech do that? Could they? Sure. With the portal, I don't think any massive turnaround is necessarily surprising. But I know one thing that I'm not going to do is base looking at teams this year on the previous year ever again. I'm just not, especially with the portal and free agency. How do I think UCLA will do? I think they'll look a lot better under Bob Chesney. I think you're going to see a very differently coached team in all the best ways possible. You're going to see more talent. He's got to implement his program. I think he's going to have some obstacles that maybe even he did not in any way, shape, or form understand until he got out there. And that's going to be the LA fan apathy. He's leaving a place in Harrisonburg where they are, after Virginia Tech and Blacksburg, there's not a fan base more excited about football in the state than JMU. They're better than Virginia's fans, right? We saw all the empty seats at Virginia games, even they were having the record-setting season. So he had that support, that constant noise, and he knew that he was part of something that was building. UCLA football is completely torn down, and he helped get there and tear it down. Now, they're going to play the tail off. Yeah, agreed, Christian. And he's got that mindset. He rolled up his sleeves. He wanted that challenge, but it's going to take him a while. The culture around that program, the culture around that city is not a good one. Even at USC, in terms of college football, it's all about pro sports out there. And it's a different vibe than it used to be when I was growing up as a massive fan. So we'll see about Bob Chesney. I think he's a terrific coach, and he's going to need some time to turn things around out there. You'll know it's turning around when you watch a game in the Rose Bowl, which I think holds, 110,000. And when you start to see the crowd actually be half full as the season goes on, you'll know that people are paying attention. Now, the first home game might have a bigger crowd, but you were looking at crowds last year less than 30,000 the last couple of years. Made a terrible hire in Deshaun Foster, purely motivated by other things than having a good football coach in. Their AD is not good. So they've got a lot of things to overcome. Morris says, am I hearing on this chat, and primarily Coach Elmo is saying Tech has the most concerns, offensive and defensive line? Yeah, Mike Burnup said that yesterday too. So to me, that's a concern. I still look. We're going to get Coach Foster on here now that he's back from being out of the country, and I'll ask him directly about the defense. I mean, what he said that night at the Blacksburg Sports Club has stuck with me. It didn't sound like they have a lot of guys that they think are right now ready to go defensively. There's a few. They've lost one that they were counting on because of injury. And then Franklin said that at the Chamber of Commerce. By the way, we want to thank Steve and everybody at the Chamber for all their help. We had a great time. I hope, I think there's another event coming up I'd love to do. Steve, let me know if you're still interested. I'd like to do that. And we thank everything that thanks the Chamber for everything that they do. If the offensive line is not good, nothing else offensively will be good. It won't matter about Ethan Grunkenmeyer. It won't matter about Reynolds. It won't matter about Brown, the kid out of Duke. The offensive line has been really bad at Tech during these very bad seasons they've had. Brent Pry never could figure it out. They even had Coach Rudolph here, one of the most respected offensive line coaches in the country, and he left after 1 year. What's going on, Geese? Good to have you back. Good morning. Good morning. So there's a lot of uncertainty. And that's what I think about a lot of these teams. Even Miami, I don't know yet. You know, you got to get them out there, roll them out there and play. And these challenges for these coaches, if you don't have a pro background, yeah, you have to bring your group together every year, right? Just like high school coaches. Who's coming out this year? Okay, well, let's work with them over the summer, get to know them, bring them out there the first week or two, and let's go set the standard. Well, I hope that's not the case, Christian. I hope that their offensive line isn't one of the worst in the conference. I hope that it's better. We'll see. They say they've been talking about their depth, and that's great. But you got to have 5 really good starters. Let's find 5, roll with the 5, and then you can show off that depth when the inevitable injuries start to happen. But I think college coaches, a lot of them have trouble because they're not used to having this flip-on mentality of professional football. And I think NFL coaches know the roster changes a lot. It's going to change a lot through free agency and the draft and unsigned or undrafted free agent signings. And you may have 10 or 12 guys that are different. And the core of your team goes through all the way special teams. Special teams is something that's very, very important. I think sometimes we lose sight of that, especially in college football. We know how important it is in the NFL. So these are things that I'm looking at, and, you know, I don't know. Agreed, Coach Elmo. He worked with Joe Rudolph at Nebraska. Surprised when he came here, not surprised when he left. And that was strange because, you know, he was here, and I remember talking about it on the show. We got wind about 2 weeks into the season that things were not going well between him and Brent Pry. And then sure enough, he was gone to Notre Dame. And again, I'm all for giving somebody else a second chance. But I'm very interested to see how Brent Pry does coming back, the coach at the school who fired him. It all seems so strange. Did you, Christian? See, this light makes me look completely bald, but I'm not. It's just that the light shines right off. I'm telling you, the best part about it is when you get up, you don't have anything to do to your hair. you don't you don't have to worry about it throughout the day. Even if you have to wear a hat, it doesn't really matter. You just throw it on. You just go. And you know what else? It saves you a lot on the shampoo costs because you don't need. But remember when it used to be Brill cream, a little dab will do you? Well, all you do is just a little shampoo out of the bottle, man, and you're done. You're ready to go. You're ready to go. It is a good decision. Feels good. So those are the things that concern me a little bit about tech. I agree with Morris. And, and we'll see. We'll see how all this happens. We'll see how James Franklin adapts to being in Blacksburg with this staff. How does this staff come together? That's something I'm going to be monitoring. I'm not necessarily going to call it a concern, but I am going to monitor the whole staff scenario here. We'll talk about that with Coach Mabry coming up. All the places that he's gone. Coaching cohesion, I think, is very, very important. What's up, Canalisto? How are you? You told your barber to give him the big dog cut. He probably was like, who's that? Who's that? Joining us now on the program, we know who this is. It's Keon Brown, our basketball extraordinaire, who's now off for the summer school.
Yeah, man.
What's going on, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, brother.
I'm great. God, I'm great. I've never been better.
How happy were you last Thursday?
Oh, gosh. I ran up out of there. I was out there before the buses pulled off. Now I walked those kids to that bus and said, see ya.
You're running
Maybe
to the car.
I'll see you next summer. Maybe I'll do elementary school, summer school again. We'll see.
Yeah, when do you start up the regular school? I don't want to bring up a bad subject here.
I think it's like August 3rd or something like that.
Wow, you don't have very long.
Hey, I take it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. I have plenty of time. Trust me. I don't take this for granted at all.
Sure, don't think about it, right?
No.
Just don't even think about it.
I've been taking naps. Yesterday, I didn't even take a nap. I'm like, dude, I need to take all of the time that I have to just focus on me. If I need to stay up all day just laying in the bed, soaking in the time, I'm going to do that. I promise you that's why.
You've earned it. You have completely and utterly earned it. There's no question.
Man.
All right, so my theoretical question to you, is the rest of the world better at basketball than the U.S. right now?
No. I can't stand that question. I don't like it because it's always the world is catching up. You have to put the players from Germany and Spain and Canada and wherever the other countries are and put them on one team versus one country that is the United States. Put all of the best players from Germany, like we see in the Olympics, and watch what happens. Put all the best players from Spain and watch what happens. Yeah, they sometimes play really good strategic basketball. That's why the games are closer in the Olympics. But at the same time, it's no catching up. If you watch the under-17 gold medal game a week ago, the USA blew the other countries out in that tournament. It wasn't even close. And that's what they have coming up. Is it talented in other countries? Absolutely, because the fundamentals are great. I saw it firsthand how they train their younger players. They focus on the fundamentals. And if that's why I say if you can have the fundamentals down pat, you give yourself a really good chance of being a really good basketball player in this country. All you got to do is work on the fundamentals.
Yeah, that's right.
As crazy as important as it used to be because you can play AAU in your 10th and 11th grade year and still be discovered. So you can focus your time on being the best player that you can be while, fine-tuning your fundamentals and you'll be all right. But is the rest of the world catching up? If you put them all as one big unit, every country against the USA, sure, we can say that because you're putting the best players in every single country that is not America on one team. But individually as a country, no, not at all.
But fundamentally they might be, but talent-wise.
Yes, fundamentally they might be. The Americans rely a lot on talent and raw skill and athleticism. They think that since they wake up more athletic than a guy from Europe, that they'll be okay. That's how they're catching up, though, if they are, is that their skill set is so much higher But when you think of the Americans and you think of guys who have quality skill sets, quality fundamentals, plus the athleticism, that's where everything changes. And as far as the European players go, guys aren't athletic and guys aren't playing defense. And that's been a constant for them.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. How do you think, and I don't know if I'll word this question the right way, but there is obviously professionalism coming to college basketball, just like in college football.
Absolutely.
Do you think long run it'll serve the game better? We're getting a lot more international players coming in college because it's a different type of cost structure and credits and so forth when you bring guys over that can play. Do you think eventually it's going to help prepare younger players in college than it used to when it was strictly just, the old way of high school and so forth with the portal switches? What do you think? How do you think it's going to look, let's say 5 years, if things stay status quo at the collegiate level in terms of just the overall game? Because I think college football, Keon, to me, looked very good last year.
Okay.
Out of the portal. I thought the game, it looks like to me it's improved because of the portal. Do you think college basketball can do that from top to bottom?
I think the difference between college basketball and college football, though, that you said that, is that what does the pro game look like for college football to where guys are able to get drafted and come back down to college? Because that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
We see Will Wade just – you talk about people who are not happy with the basketball coaches, Will Wade. That guy has 26, 27, 28-year-olds on his roster that were drafted, that were playing in the EuroLeague, that is over here in college basketball now. So if it remains the same, you'll continue to see more of what Will Wade is doing, because I think ultimately when you have grown men on your team that have 401ks and have had careers and are approaching 30 years old, they're in their upper 20s, they're going to be winning. So other teams are going to see that success and want to do the same thing. It's a copycat league in the NCAA. It's a copycat league in the NBA as well. But what you're going to see is when folks are successful, everybody's going to copy it. Everybody copies these pro-style offenses that they saw from UConn when they won back-to-back national championships. Now you'll be in a situation where we see these people or this program is successful at recruiting a certain way. It's our turn to do it that way. There needs to be some rule changes on that. I'm telling you, if it remains the same, it's going to be chaotic as it's ever been. It's going to continue to be just who has the most money. And what you'll continue to see is what we have in college basketball right now, a mess. Every single year, you got to learn a new roster. Every single year, you got to fill out waivers if you're certain programs, because guys have been playing for 7 years. Now they want an extra 2 years to play for 9 years. It is ridiculous in our sport right now. Something has to change. It needs to change fast. I'll say that.
It was interesting, and I don't think he'd mind me saying this because I was out around the practice floor yesterday. All the Radford guys are in.
Yeah.
Zach Chu, when he was talking to the guys, reminding them that they needed to have respect for the place that they are, respect the women's team. Don't go around when somebody talks to you, speak back.
Absolutely.
Look people in the eye, make an effort to interact with. And I thought to myself as I'm sitting there, he learned a lot from last year, didn't he? Because, I'm just going to say it, and I'm not dogging the kids who aren't here anymore. That group was not connected in any way, shape, or form to Radford University, the community, the fellow student athletes, the employees. They were there for one thing, and that was to make as much money as possible, playing for a place they likely had never heard of. And it was interesting to see, and I'm hoping it's a positive thing to see Zach Chu acknowledge that. Maybe he's developing a little more as a coach in terms of that. But it was interesting, that message. And sure enough, I've met a few of these guys, and it does feel different. How many coaches do you think are having to do that, especially at our level, if they went all in to bring in guys like Radford brought in last year?
Well, I'll say this. If you have to coach being a respectful young man, then you're already starting off on the wrong foot. I mean, what is the problem with just being nice to people?
I know.
Why do I have to coach you respecting the women's basketball team, the women's basketball staff, especially when you have a legend like Mike McGuire over there at the head coach, right? It shouldn't be you need to treat them this way. It needs to be you're going to treat them this way. How about that? Coach it that way.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was like I think it was complete reference not to this group.
Yeah.
I think it was a complete reference to last year's group.
Yep. And what I can also say is I am a teacher, so I see different type of parenting styles. It's all on the parents. It really is, and how they raise their kids. And this is a new generation of parents that are out here right now, and the generations are changing now. Now the generation is my age, right?
Yeah,
Everybody didn't grow up like I did. Everybody didn't grow up in the projects in the hood, and you were going to be respectful to everybody in the community, and you're going to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. Everybody just isn't like that. But what happens is a lot of times you disrespect the wrong person, and you give yourself and you learn a valuable lesson. So I am glad that Coach Chu has, with experience of being a head coach for the first year, learned a lot. In year one, seems like you've recruited some high character guys now based on what you're saying. And that team last year, even though I talked to some of the guys, you can tell it's what you said. It's this guy used to play here. Great for him. Where's my check? Right. That's what a lot. Some of the guys were really great, but it was very dismissive, and that's okay. I get it. I'm grown. I can handle it. I'm a big boy. But at the same time, you want, and you can sometimes see why there was so much disdain in the program. There was so much disdain on the court, guys fighting over one another, fighting over shots. You can kind of see that a little bit based on those guys' character from a season ago. So now that you said that, and from what we're hearing from the team, based on what you're saying and what you saw, you can tell there seems like there's some type of change in the culture of Radford basketball this year. And I'm happy for Zach Chu. I'm happy for the staff that he's brought in, of the new staff. And hopefully these guys can continue to, build a legacy of winning in Radford, because that's what the program has always been about, winning. And now you bring these new guys in, and hopefully they can continue that.
Yeah, I think it was a very positive sign, and I think, and people ask me about Tech football, and my concern is about coaches, and I'm going to ask Coach Mabry about this. So you had a guy come in, first-time head coach, coming into a place, and he's lost a lot of his staff that he had last year, and so he had to adjust. He had to adjust to the collegiate game, and he had to adjust to everything that it meant to be the leader of a program. So he's learning as he goes here as a first-time coach. And it's going to happen. It is going to happen. But what you said, I think, is what it is. A lot of times it's not the kids, it's the parents around the kids at every level, right? Here we are again with all that.
So we all know that I call him my brother. JD Byers, the men's basketball coach at Virginia Tech. What I love to do, I love to pick his brain on the new landscape of college basketball, how recruiting is different, because he's one of the best recruiters in college basketball. He's got so many pros that have been to the NBA. But I always say, how is recruiting different now than, say, 14 years ago when you were recruiting me, or a player like me, or a player like Javonte Green or Rashawn Davis, et cetera? And he said the biggest difference is when you go into someone's home for a home visit, it's not about how much playing time I'm going to get. It's not about how I'm going to develop as a player. It's about how much money you can offer. And as long as that is what is the core of recruiting, we're headed down a bad slope. Something, like we said a few minutes ago, something's going to have to change. So just football, I'm sure it's the same way when you're recruiting. It's all about money, and it's all about what the parents want, not what the players want. How much can you offer my son, which backhanded is going to come to me for the most part in some way. And as long as, we're in that type of situation, you'll continue to have parents who choose greed over the overall success over their child. And you got a lot of guys who make an extra amount of money but won't graduate, who won't know how to manage the money. And before you know it, you made six figures in college. But by the time you're 27, it's all gone because you can't manage it the right way. Parents, if you have a kid that's going to college and they're going to make money, please put out a plan to whether they can save that money, and you can put yourself in a position where you're utilizing the athletic department to fund the rest of your life in college. How you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, et cetera, et cetera. Saving is the best form of, ultimate long-term success for your child. Make sure they save that money. That's all I'll say.
It's almost like some of these parents are thinking they're going to get a big part of the money. Exactly. Right? They're just trying to make it good for themselves, right? Through their kid.
Yeah,
one way or the other. Yeah.
Come into my house. All right, coach, I don't care about the offense. I don't care about the defense. What that money looking like?
Yeah, what are we looking like? What's the numbers? What's the numbers? Yeah. And, and Darius Nichols, to his credit, I talk to him all the time. When that becomes the first thing, he goes, we're basically done at that point unless we have some kind of prior relationship or unless this kid is really special.
Yeah.
And we, but he goes, I'm just at that point, it turns us off. And,
I get it.
Because he knows it's a conversation he has to have, but he doesn't want that to be the first
as soon
comment.
As you sit on the couch, right? As soon as you come on the couch, show me the money.
That's right.
Get everything else. Where's Radford? That's what people will say. Who cares? Where's the money?
Yeah. Where is it again? We're going to sign there. Where are you guys? What state are you in? Are y'all in Wyoming? Is that where y'all are? Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. By the way, who is right now the best American player in the world? American player.
Ooh, American player.
See, we were talking about this earlier this week. And the top 5 are all European guys.
Jalen Brunson is making a case right now about the season he's just had. A healthy Jason Tatum is dangerous. Jaylen Brown is really good. Cooper Flagg's on his way up. Anthony
What do you think of that trade, by the way?
You probably say Anthony Edwards. Which trade?
The Jaylen Brown trade.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
What's
I don't
up
know
with
what
that?
Brad Stevens was thinking. Brad Stevens was being the genius that he is.
Why did you do that?
He just got hustled. Like, it's like the episode of Fresh Prince when they went to the pool hall and, Will Smith didn't really know how to play, and the guy was acting like he didn't know how to play. Took all his money. That's what that was. He just got hustled. Yeah. But to answer your question, right off the top of the head, it's probably Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
I think, yeah, Ant-Man is probably that one. Steph, KD, LeBron, those guys are old. Can't
they're down now. Yep, right.
They're down. Yeah, man, it's probably a healthy Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, but if I had to pick, it's probably Anthony Edwards. That guy's unbelievable.
Well, and this is my concern because you just mentioned, when they weren't down, LeBron, Steph,
yeah.
KD. Oh, my goodness gracious. Now, who's it going to be?
The last 2 decades, right?
I know. I don't know who it's going to be going forward. I really don't.
I mean, it's one of those guys. Cooper Flagg, like I said, is on his way up. He had a really good rookie season. Jaylen Brown was top 3 in MVP voting this season, or was one of the top 5 guys in MVP voting a year ago. Jason Tatum was hurt. Anthony Edwards is Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man. Jalen Brunson. You got young guys who isn't in this conversation but has a chance to be there. A guy like Akon Knuckle from the Charlotte Hornets. From Duke, he had an unbelievable rookie year as well. People aren't talking about him enough. He's the guy who needs to be on that USA team a few years ago. He might be the best shooter coming up in the NBA. It's some guys, man. It really is.
You think the kid from BYU can be one of those guys?
I believe so.
Quickly, okay.
Yeah, I believe so. He's got it all. 6'9", that player that you want in the NBA right now that can do it all. He can pass the basketball. He can score on all 3 levels. You put him to the free throw line, he knocks it down. He really has no weaknesses as an offensive player. So I think he's a guy who can come in, average anywhere between 17 to 20 points for the Wizards right away. That's what I'm expecting from him. If you can average 25 points per game as a true freshman in college, you can do that in the NBA. I believe that, especially when the game plan, the focus is all on you. At BYU, that's what it was. Even in the NCAA tournament, I believe he had like 35, 38 points. And we know how extensive the scouting report is there. He just tore up Texas.
He did.
Yeah, man.
He did.
Yeah.
Am I wrong to think, for some reason, I always go back to Caleb Wilson. I feel like he's got a shot to be.
He's got a shot. He's got a
mega
chance.
star.
Yeah.
You think so?
He's got to fine tune a few things. A lot of the NBA right now is shooting. So if he can get a consistent jump shot, I think he puts himself on that level where he'll be, a perennial all-star. I think that's what's next for him. Another guy off the top of the head from America is Cade Cunningham. He could be too.
Yeah.
Can't sleep on Cade.
He has developed that. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Man, the Rockets have missed out on top pick. They missed out on Wemby. They missed out on Cade Cunningham. Got the second pick each time. It's just.
Yeah, man.
What could have been?
They thought Kevin Durant was going to be the answer there.
Yeah.
And I can see him being moved sometime soon as well.
Yeah. Wayne asked, by the way, let's get an update. I saw a couple reports. It looked like LeBron a done deal to Cleveland, going to go back home to finish off.
We got to watch that, man. I think it's one of the 2 places right now. A few weeks ago, I thought it would be San Antonio. I remember we talked about that. I thought if he wanted to win a championship, pretty much a guaranteed championship, he'd go there. But right now, it's looking like either Cleveland or Miami, maybe even Philly. That's a team, a dark horse team for me. But
Well,
as far as Cleveland, I don't like him going with James Harden.
No.
It's a great story, but James Harden and LeBron just don't mix.
No.
I don't like it. Go to Miami
Agreed.
or Philly before you go to Cleveland if James Harden is going to be there. If they deal him out, depending on what they bring back in, then you go. But that's not going to work. And I don't like it. I think it's closer to what it was in LA when the Lakers had Russell Westbrook and LeBron in that backcourt. You'll see a lot of the same thing. It's not a good look. Don't go back to Cleveland if James Harden is there. Now, like I said, it's a good story. He's back home. Nobody's going to be mad at him for going back there. But if you're trying
yeah,
that's
right.
not the place you want to go. Better options are definitely Miami and Philly for sure.
Yeah, it would be a great story for him to finish up.
Yeah,
at
sure.
Cleveland, it would, and they were a playoff team.
Yeah, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and got
right.
swept.
So, kind of gave up in that series because the Knicks beat their brains in. But
yeah, because of that game too when they were up 20 in the second half. That's what that was.
Harden's just not a championship player.
That's some guys like to me,
right?
Yeah, it seems that way to me. He's getting older. We talk about Steph, LeBron, and KD. That guy's been in the NBA since what, 2007, 2008, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting old. I think he's
That's right.
Born in the year 18 or something like that.
He's got to be 40, right?
I think he's about 36, 37.
37? Wow.
Yeah, because he went to college for a little while. He was at Arizona State. He wasn't like a LeBron who came straight out of high school. I don't think he was one and done either like Kevin Durant. He's got a little age on him.
Yeah, and you mentioned that too. You just mentioned the Sixers. I'm like, and Brad Stevens made that trade with the Sixers.
I can't believe
the big rival. What are we doing?
I think they're in the same division as Boston.
Yeah, they're
right?
like huge traditional rivals, and you give that guy away to Philly?
You gave him for nothing. An old Paul George who's consistently hurt, and 2 second-round picks for a guy who averaged 30 points a year ago, who was one of the best players in the NBA. No Jason Tatum, and you still were a 2 seed, I believe it was.
All because of him.
Nice. Oh man.
Yeah, what's been the backlash? Boston fans have got to just be irate. I would.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Now you put your team in contention every year to now they will probably be a top 6 seed, and then you're going to be fighting, scratching, and clawing to get out of the first round. You go from a contender to a pretender. You guys are not going to win a championship. Just eliminated yourself from that sweepstakes.
Well, that's right. Why did you give away one of your big three? And the thing about it had to be a was it financial? What are we doing?
No,
was it just strictly
the character of him or something like that? That he wasn't well liked around there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't get it, man.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, man. I'll never get it.
Hey, we're probably going to do Big Dog Pop again tomorrow night. So anytime you want to stop by, let me know.
Okay.
I'll send you an invite. We just talk about all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
you're a big movie guy. You're a big movie guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's that dead period of the summer too. It's
exactly.
No basketball. We got summer league going on, but it's that dead period. No Olympics, none of that stuff going on. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wish we at least had an international. I wish we had a basketball competition going on right now with like
2 years away before it comes to LA.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I got a family that's going up there.
Is that the Olympics in 2020 in LA? Back in LA?
I think my wife would even go.
You gonna go?
I'm not going. My wife's going, probably.
Is she really? Yeah.
Have a great time. Enjoy yourself.
You have no interest in going to LA?
Yeah, I have no interest in the traffic. I have no interest in all of the commotion that's going to be down there. I just don't. She's going to see who is it? Chris Brown and Usher this weekend. She's leaving on Friday, coming back Sunday.
Where's that at now?
That's at FedEx. Well, it's not FedEx Field. I guess it's Northwest Stadium now. We're at Washington Commanders Field.
You're not going to go? You're not.
I'm not going. I'm staying right here. I'm here. I told you I'm taking this minute by minute, hour by hour.
That's right.
The time of her life. I hope Chris Brown calls her on stage. That's my ultimate goal. I don't know if you've been seeing the viral clips. Call her up, Chris. Usher, one of you guys, call her up.
Does she have good seats?
She's got solid seats. I'll say that.
Okay, well, if she's close, then maybe she can get up there and
Yeah, she's got solid seats.
Wade says you better not let Usher sing to her.
No, he can sing to her. I'd enjoy it. I'm not the jealous type at all.
No,
These guys are going online, going crazy. Hey, that's my wife. You're saying, who cares, dude? Yeah, Chris Brown, Usher's not going to see her another day in their life. I promise you.
Right.
Let her have her moment. I'd enjoy it.
You're in the LeBron room and you just got the countdown on. You don't really care about anything else. I get it. I get it.
Promise you. She can empty the bank account out right now. I wouldn't even.
Because you're just in your haven. I completely understand. A dude needs his lair, right?
Yes.
We need. Nobody can really see mine, but I'm the same way. You've got to have. You got to have your space. That's kind of what I told Janet. Look, you can do whatever you want upstairs.
There we go.
It's outdated. I'm a dude. It's just been me and my son. We didn't decorate worth a damn. We don't know what's going on. We're just dudes, right? We're just trying to live every day. So you do.
We're simple. It doesn't take much to make us happy.
We are exactly. We are simple. Men are simple creatures. We don't ask for a lot.
Nope,
we don't.
Just give me a nice ribeye, man.
That's it. That's exactly right.
And a Coke Zero. I know you're your diet Coke. I need a Coke Zero.
I gotta have a diet. Yeah, I gotta have a diet. Hey, by the way, if you're ever flipping around YouTube, I've been watching. You made me think of that. You probably already know who he is. When Beard Meets Food, Beard Meets Food.
Yeah.
MEATS. The guy from England
goes with the competitions.
That's really good. And usually he destroys it. I finally saw him lose one last night. It was a
he did?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
It was a pancake battle in Oklahoma. And he tapped out, man.
Was it just a bad day for him? Because he usually runs through that.
It's unbelievable. And the thing about the guy is he is.
No, yeah.
He is like got 4%, 3% body fat. He works out. He looks like a Greek god, and he's sitting there eating 10,000 calories in one of these meals. But it's good if anybody wants to watch something. Somebody tapped me up on it, and I was like, "Ooh, this guy is cool."
Yeah,
he lost.
YouTube has something for everybody. I'll say that.
They do.
YouTube is something out there for everybody. But I'll say this. Last year, I told you about a guy named Badlands Chugs who always wins the Nathan's chugging competition. He won it again last Saturday.
Did he really?
A gallon eliminated in 21 seconds. Like, he was done. He was done, and everybody else wasn't even halfway done. It's Badlands. That dude's unbelievable.
Did Chestnut win, by the way?
Oh, absolutely.
Did he win again? Okay.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Dollars or something like that. I don't miss it. That's one of my favorite things on 4th of July.
I can't watch it. I can't.
No, I can. I need to. I love it. I can't get enough.
It makes me a little ill to watch.
I get it. I'm not mad at you, but I'm good. You got to watch the Badlands. I'll send it to you on Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do that. Yes.
I mean, he's just chugging the lemonade. I think you're good with that. Right?
All right. You got a couple of questions before we let you go. Wayne asked, did Badlands rap?
He didn't rap. He does rap though. Badlands was one of the train operators in New York on the subway. He's retired now, but in his spare time, he does a lot of chugging. That's all he does. He'll go around finding all of the new drinks and put it in his boot. His big boot. I mean, it's a huge boot.
That's what he drinks out of?
He just chugs it. See how quick he can do it. It's typically 11 seconds.
Wow. Did the Bulls win the draft by getting Caleb Wilson?
No, the Wizards won the draft by getting AJ DeBanza.
And
so far in Summer League, it seems like Utah has won the draft by getting Darren Peterson the way he's been playing. But Coach Futch that was on the staff at Radford when I was there was Darren Peterson's high school coach. So he did a really good job developing him.
You think maybe he's going to be – because you said that's kind of what the Wizards were kind of going back and forth. Do you think maybe they is that what it is, that they knew he was he could end up being that guy? Because he has played well. I have seen a lot of headlines for him so far.
But this draft class was so good that it seems like it's hard to miss. It's basically what's available when you're there and what's your best fit. Because as well as Darren Peterson's playing, Darius Acuff is playing just as well. The percentages aren't there or wasn't there in game one, but he's got the pace and the rhythm down to Summer League, and he's doing just as well. So it seems like everybody's, playing up to what their draft pick was. Boozer's playing really well so far. We haven't seen DeBanza just yet. He's about to be coming on, but everybody's playing well, especially those early picks. Peterson just looks the best overall so far.
You liked Acuff too, didn't you?
I love Acuff. Love Acuff.
I was going to ask you real quick because I don't really know. I mean, I don't remember his. You probably know the kid that the only guy the Rockets brought in.
Who
in the draft? Bruce Thornton.
Oh, really good player. Another good one. I mean, I'm telling you, this draft was so deep, dude. It just was. But like I also said, you better hit it on this one because the next two are going to be awful. And I'm warning everybody right now, it's not going to be – it's going to be bad. It's not much talent.
You said that, yeah. You have said that.
Not much superstar talent. Maybe all drafts have a guy who turns out to be an all-star. You can't run away from that, but it's like you're swinging for the fences on this one. Like Milwaukee had no clue Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo at pick 14. They thought he'd be a serviceable.
Well, that's right. That's right.
But not a two-time MVP, a Finals MVP, a two-time defensive player of the year. Nobody saw that coming. It's going to be one of those. You're going to have to swing and hope somebody pans out.
And Jokic, Nikola was what, second-round pick?
Yeah, second-round pick drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. Name just flashed up across the bottom of the ticker. And now look at him. Might be the best player in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, that's why that's why it was so easy for the Heat to give up all those draft picks. You're getting Giannis. They don't care because they look down the road. They realize what the draft's going to look like. So what if we don't have the draft picks? We don't care.
When you got a player as dominant as him, you just got to surround him with the right guys.
Yeah.
And defensively, Miami's going to be the best defensive team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Look at those guys they got over there. And then they still got Bobby Portis in the deal too. So it's like you got some quality bench depth too at the same time. So you got Bobby Portis and Giannis as your front court. That's really good.
Are the Heat the favorites in the East?
Could be, but we still have to see how the dominoes fall as far as who they sign. They also signed Tim Hardaway Jr. They need more shooting, so that was a good signing. We need to see what happens, though. Davion Mitchell is a guy who's coming along. If you can get maybe 2, maybe 3 more shooters, then you're talking. And if you do that, then I know LeBron's going there because you surround him with shooters and guys who can play defense, and that's all you need for a guy going into year 24, which is so crazy to think about. He's been playing along.
How much is left in free agency? I mean, how much talent is out there still? Is most of the guys – there's still some guys out there?
Yeah, the best free I think Jalen Duren's still out there from Detroit.
Yeah.
LeBron, as we said, is still out there. There's some guys. Our boy Wu just signed for another year. Congratulations to our guy Wu. He's a Detroit guy, though. Like, he fits the mold of the Pistons so well that they love him there. One of the only players in the NBA last year to play all 82 games. So we're not too shocked there. There's still some names out there.
And your favorite spot for LeBron, is that San Antonio?
It's San Antonio. Yeah. But right now, realistic option is probably Philly for me. I think Philly. The only thing with Philly is can Joel Embiid stay healthy? But if you think of everything else they have over there, Tyrese Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown now, LeBron, all you need to have is a serviceable center out there, and that's more than enough. Yeah. You can manage Joel Embiid. Maybe say don't play all 82 games, play half, play 41, get yourself healthy for the playoffs, and then we'll ramp you up.
Yeah, because you won't need him
more than
potentially.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be
very. You got Bob Black coming on later, huh?
Yeah, Bob's coming on at 8. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, obviously got to listen to him to see how that Richmond basketball team is coming along.
Yeah, I know, right? They are to Richmond. The dedication they have is it's their football program. I mean, they have a football program, but the basketball program is what people are, very emotional about.
I still remember when I was little when Mike London won the national championship there. That was a big deal. I know, like University of Richmond's kind of tucked off. It's almost like a private school. As far as the feeling. I think it is a private school, but I'm talking about how it's tucked away. It's not like you're not enriched in like a ECU, but the city still embraced the University of Richmond when they won the national championship. I'll never forget that.
It's a totally different vibe, isn't it, than VCU? And they're right there together.
It is. Like you would never just run into the University of Richmond. You have to know where you're going.
That's right.
Like you really
true.
do.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not just in your face like you think it'll be. Like you definitely need your GPS to get there for sure.
Final question. Will you come out of the LeBron lair today?
You? Oh, yeah, when I leave here. So what I do is I wake up 5:30. I'm still waking up early as possible. My body's just used to it. And then I get myself together. I usually get my daughter together, and then I take her to her mom for a little bit, have my time, take her to daycare, go straight to the gym. It's like a 30-second drive. Stay in there for about 2 hours, have you guys on while I'm on the stair climber. And then, I come back home, get in the shower, and I find something to do around the house. Like today, I got a few cleaning things to do. So I'll get half of it done today, the other half tomorrow. And then I'll take Friday all the way off, except I'm going to the gym. I go to the gym every day. And then, Friday will be my lazy day.
Yeah. Do you get a honey-do list, or are you just cleaning on your own?
I know what needs to get done in my head. So I kind of brush some things off until the summer. Some things in this house don't get done until the summer. And it's that time to get it done.
I understand. Well, all right, brother. Have a great week. Good luck.
Man.
Good luck getting to a lazy day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's coming.
It's coming. It is coming. All right, man. We will holler at you next week.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Take care. There you go. Keon Brown joining us on the program. And what he said is so right. We're just simple dudes. We're dudes. We don't need much. We really don't. Yeah, get Rick to watch Varsity Blues. Yeah, I got to talk to Keon about Varsity. He's got to get me to watch Varsity Blues. Yeah. I have not watched Varsity Blues. I need to do that. There's a lot of movies I haven't watched. I don't watch anything pretty much new at all because it's so bad. Although I did watch the Michael. I streamed that. It is good. It's solid. It just passed $1 billion, by the way, worldwide. It's just cool reliving it, and his nephew did such a good job. I mean, there were times you forgot that wasn't Michael Jackson. That's how good I think he portrayed him. Good stuff from KB. David Mabry coming up, the coach. And then Bob Black, the voice of the Richmond Spiders today. Coach Ragsdale is out and about for a while. He's traveling, so he will not be on. He was going to try to be on this week. So we're going to try to figure out Coach Rags later this month. He'll let me know next week. So that's still going to happen at some point. So down the road. So we'll Coach Foster hopefully next week. And we got a lot going on. Here. Jeremy Haymore joins us next week, the author. And it's good stuff. Prometheus, what's up? Bringer of fire. I want to get into NBA basketball, but the season's too long and the players sit too much. Yeah. I would like it a lot more if it weren't so tied into ESPN. That would help me a lot too. Yeah, you know what it is? What I agree 100%. You want the players to care about the game as much as you do as a fan. And I don't think NBA players care. I think they care more about the lifestyle. Not all. This isn't a sweeping comment. I'm talking about the majority. And you're right. They are so eager to sit and not participate. I can't imagine that. What's up, Richard? How are you? Yeah, I talked to Coach on. As a matter of fact, it was funny yesterday, Wayne. I was talking to Coach. And boy, I can't tell you how much we're not even on air, and I can't even tell you how much I just value talking to him. I bet we were on the phone for 40 minutes yesterday. And he started, I was asking how he was doing. He's asking how I was doing. And he's so thorough. He was explaining. He didn't want to just tell me that he couldn't come on this week as we'd originally planned. He wanted to explain to me why, because he's that guy, right? And he asked me how I was doing. Well, how's your summer? He goes, wait a minute, you got married, didn't you? And I went, yeah, I did, Coach. And he was asking me about that. And he goes, I remember Marty talked about how you'd bring your wife up to practice, or she would come up to practice, and they couldn't wait. They saw her pulling around in the truck, and she'd be like, all right, here comes Coach Rag's wife, but don't let him hear us saying we just want to look at her. And then he told the story of how he met her. And I'm just sitting there like, this is so great. It was just such a It is a blessing. Just sitting there on the phone. I'm sitting there thinking I'm on the phone with him. This is so cool. I'm just talking to this guy, and he's, he's laughing. He's having this great time telling me the story about how he nabbed his wife. It was great. Matter of fact, when we get him back on, I told him, I said, I might get you to tell that story, Coach. And he goes, I'd be glad to. Might be the greatest accomplishment I ever had. Great stuff. Now, I'm with you on NBA, though. That's me as well. The Rockets won back-to-back championships. They changed their uniforms, and they haven't won anything since. I did see this year they're bringing back the gold to go with the red, but they still have that horrible logo. And I don't like it because it's basically a Chinese logo that was created for Yao Ming when they did all that. And we know how the NBA is in bed with them. I wish they just go back to the old Rockets logo. That when you stray from your identity, man, it burns you. They win back-to-back titles, and I know, the first year MJ was completely gone, and second year was when Shaq and Penny in Orlando kind of finally burst onto the scene. But they destroyed Orlando, beat them. They swept them in the finals. And Akeem Olajuwon was at the height of his powers. No, I did not at all. I didn't like the blue. I mean, you totally went away from your identity. It was totally unnecessary. You just won back-to-back titles. Your merch was selling, and you'd had those unis since you had moved. They were the San Diego Rockets that turned into the Clippers, and then Houston got the identity of the Rockets. And so, no, I didn't like them. I didn't like them at all. Maybe if they would have won a title, but the pinstripes and all that looked weird. Right. The Cavaliers are that, and your red, it's not even a red. It's really cool. Maybe it's kind of like a brick red, like the old Crayola crayon. The Cavaliers, when they wear that, it's a very nice, yeah, you're right. It's different than the Rockets' old red and gold. It's like a burnt red. We have burnt orange, like Tech football. When Tech used to wear their colors. But yeah, it is. You're right. Those are nice unis. Those Cavs unis are nice. The old Bob Pettit uniforms for the Cavs. I mean, that was the Hawks. And that was the Hawks. I'm in the wrong team there. Because the Hawks red was always lighter than the Cavs red. Yeah. But the Rockets lost their identity. They haven't got it back. They have not gotten it back. And they're trading players now just to have money. Just trading salary away. I don't understand. And that's the other thing too for me, is I don't understand. There's no rhyme or reason to what the NBA does with these max contracts, these trades, how the draft is only 2 rounds, and it's all like you can't even fill out a good roster in 2 rounds. I don't know. Oh, world be free? Yeah, absolutely. Great shooter. Great player. But yeah, those Cavs unis are nice. They are nice. Yeah, it is. It is more of a yellow gold. Yeah. And the Rockets used to kind of be that way. Use a deeper. But those old unis were terrific. Oh, there's Creed. We want to have Coach Mabry on here in just a second. Let me grab Creed. He's haven't seen him yet. He looks like he's ready to hop in here. Come on, buddy. Come on. Sorry, he's got like a cut right here. You can tell he got into like a fence or something. He's got a little cut, a little fur, tore out some fur I was looking at there. He's licking on it right now. He's okay though. Yeah, the season will be hard to watch with the retirement tour. 100%. 100%. And it'll be covered every day by ESPN. There'll be news reports every day about every game that he goes to because they can't help but give themselves more LeBron. Yeah. Yeah, the wildlife's fighting back. Yeah, he's got like a little gash right here. I think it looks like he got into a barbed wire fence or something. Got into a fence. A wire got him. But he really doesn't care. He doesn't care. All right. Put up Bob Black, the voice of the Richmond Spiders. There's that guy, Coach David Mabry, join us. What's up, Coach? How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I saw Mike Burnip yesterday from the ghetto of Florida, sitting on his deck and everything.
Yeah.
So I thought, I can do that. It ain't quite Florida, but it's, some of the best that NARS can offer. So.
That NARS can offer. Well, by the way, Coach Mabry's kind of become a staple now on Big Dog Pop. We are going to do it tomorrow night, by the way. We're going to go back to Thursday night. The feedback I've gotten is people like it on Thursday better than Friday. So we're going to do it on Thursday. So
sounds good.
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask you, so one of the things when I get asked about Virginia Tech this season, I do have some concerns about a first-time coaching staff. Not necessarily the individuals themselves, but you've been to a lot of stops and you know as well as anybody what it takes. How long does it take for a coaching staff to find continuity, whether you're talking about the high school level, the collegiate level, NFL level? I mean, how important is that and how much effort has to be put forth, Coach, when you're talking with staff members and you're trying to get on the same page and so forth?
In high school, it takes a little bit because usually you're getting coaches from different areas, different, and not necessarily the head coach is not necessarily getting people that he would normally have, if that makes sense. He's getting people that the school has to fill positions with in a lot of cases. And that takes a little longer for a head coach to figure out. Now, a lot of times a head coach will tell, they will find people, through coaching clinics or friends or people that they've coached with before and tell them they've got openings and this and that. But it comes down to the teaching openings and all that. And if you're talking about an established coach, somebody that's been in the business for a while, they can't come in on a volunteer basis because they've got family to feed and all that. So there's got to be a teaching job with it. In college, I don't think it's important, but I don't think it's quite the time consuming thing because, James Franklin, I'm sure with his staff, he had his people pegged way before everything started. And then, probably when he got the job, then there were probably a few little cracks in the sidewalk that he had to fill. But I think probably, in college, you're bringing in people that and you know how they work and they fit in with your scheme and all that. I don't think you're bringing in complete mysteries with that. So probably the meshing process and all that probably wouldn't be as long. And in professional football, it's like a business that it is.
It's almost like they're against each other, like the offensive coaches, the defensive coaches, that competition from day one. Yeah.
And you're asked to come into a job and you're getting paid handsomely to mesh to give this head coach what they're asking for. And you either do that job or you're gone. And as lucrative as those jobs are, I don't think, and all this is speculation, but just off the top of my head, looking at that, I know from the high school end, it can be a long process.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing too with the high school stuff is you might have a young coach coming in, and maybe they were on the 8th grade level, something like that, or maybe even a community guy coming up through the little leagues. And then you've got to teach, get them, for lack of better words, trained to the way you do it, the way you want things done, and all that, and then teach them the game. They know the game on one level, and then as you go up levels, as it becomes a completely different game. That's why, when I'm on with Coach Elmation, usually I shut my mouth, because it's for me, that's a learning process, because there's stuff he's talking about, or Todd Grantham. When you have Todd Grantham on, I just sit and I don't say a word and I listen.
Yeah, I know.
Because the stuff he's going over, I wouldn't even have a clue.
Well, and he talked about that process up at UAB a couple of visits ago. But I asked him about that, and all these guys are coming in with Coach Mortensen, and they had to have concentrated meetings. You're meeting with your own staff, your position guys. He's the defensive coordinator, so they are technically his coaching staff, right? And it was interesting to hear him break it down. But I can think back, even playing for Coach Hicks, our staff didn't stay together because guys were getting other opportunities because they had been assistants and program was successful. So other schools would come calling, and here comes a new coach. We didn't know who he was. So even going back all the way then, you're not necessarily having just the same coaches every year. And that was back in the, mid to late 80s. So,
well, that tree, you talk about the Joel Hicks tree. I mean, wow, that tree right there, how it branched out and everything. And as you've talked about, and Coach Grantham's talked about, Joel's practices and everything, it was more like a college practice, and it was more of a college setup than a high school setup.
It was.
You still tell the story of making the travel squad and stuff like that. And, and I've coached single A football for so many years, and I laugh at that because we're like, a freshman comes up and we say, what kind of athlete is he? Well, he's okay. All right. He's on varsity. I mean, that's how it works on that level. And it's just different levels and different ways you have to coach and all that. So.
Yeah, it was a different time. The schools, the AAA schools they were actually really real AAA schools back then,
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And I was at a coaching clinic one year, and I was sitting, and this was back when they had moved it from Hampton to Lynchburg. So this was early 90s. And it was one evening, and I might or might not have had a bottle of a malted beverage.
No.
But don't tell anybody. It might
not at all.
Rep.
Not at all.
And I was sitting under a tree in front of the hotel in Lynchburg, and I was sitting with Dean Ray, who was the head coach at Rural Retreat at the time. Great coach at Rural Retreat for years, and Kurt Newsom. And Kurt was at the time a head coach at Kickitan. And we were talking, bouncing some stuff around and this and that. And I just wanted to hear what they were doing because I was the young guy in the crowd, and I was just trying to soak up stuff. And we got to started talking about onside kicks. And I'm like, I said, Kurt, what are you doing on the onside kicks? And he goes, well, the first thing I do is I take all my 4-4 kids. And I'm like, stop. I said, don't even talk to me anymore. You know, you take all your 4-4
All
kids,
of them. Yeah. Several of them.
like,
He's got choices. He's got options.
Yeah. Yeah. And this, like I said, he was at Kickotan in, in the Eastern Shore. And he had teams that were loaded at the time. And I said, no more. That's like when you go to the coaching clinics and you listen to offensive line coaches. One year we went to Tech, and Nebraska offensive line coaches were there. And they were showing all these drills they were doing with the, 280 to 300 pound linemen, how they were lifting the sled and this and that. And I looked over at Don Lowe, and Don looked at me, and he goes, well, this isn't doing us any good. Different levels.
Well, you mentioned Coach Newsom. We just lost him, about a month ago, and it's very seldom you see a guy have an impact so much at both levels of a state like he had at the high school and collegiate level. Right? You talk about a most genuine, down to earth. It's easy to see why he had success in so many places with so many different types of people, because he made himself so easily relatable, didn't he? We lost a good person, man. We did.
You hit it on the head. He's a people guy. He is such a people guy. And, at Tech, he was successful there. You talk to people and people that played for him there, and they loved him. And then I knew when he went to Emory, I said, well, hell, he'll have no problem being able to talk to kids and talk to families and getting them in the building there, and all that. And like I said, the times that I talked to him at clinics and stuff, and it was mostly the earlier years when he was still in high school, he was very, very accessible and, was very open. You could ask him anything and he would talk to you about anything, and he enjoyed it. And you'd hear 2 or 3 good jokes along the way as he was talking about it, just that type of guy.
Well, he was. And I think when you look back and, you go to these clinics and so forth, do you see that? I guess you see that a lot more. Most people don't get a chance to get to know these coaches in that format, right? When you're watching them teach and you're learning and you're seeing the way they have to relate to so many different kids and so forth, right? I mean, it does give you a unique perspective to look inside these coaches a lot more than, common fans do and so forth.
And that was the way to spend the spring and summer months. We always had the VHSCA clinic in July. And then we always tried to pick a different one out in the spring. I know Coach Sharness was big on clinics. He was always, even in his last couple of years, he wanted to take in as much as he could, because he was such a he was able to change as the game changed. He was able to change how he attacked things and all that. And in doing that, he knew he had to learn. And he was the type, he would just go out and go to clinics and talk to people and find out what they were doing and go. I mean, he started out with, with Coach Hicks. And, wing T. And then at Hillsville or Carroll, started running I formation and all that. And, when he got to Alta Vista and he was talking with us, he said, guys, he said, we can't try and force our philosophy here. Let's work with what we have. And so we became more of a, we still ran the eye because he did like that power and he did like everything with that. But then we started spreading it out, running more spread. And that was the time when Brad Bradley was just putting 8 million points on the board and winning state titles at William Campbell. And, and that was the thing at the time. And it fit it fit with the type of kids we had at Alta Vista. And Coach Sharness, like I said, he just picked a lot of that up from the clinics and stuff. So,
yeah, I did have it was a pleasure to be under him for, I can't remember if he was there 2 years with me or 1 year, but I remember he was doing an interview with Dan Callahan, the late Dan Callahan, and he said, why, talk about coming here to be with Coach Hicks. And he said, just like these players are out here, I wanted to come and I wanted to learn from the best. I have an aspiration to be a head coach and to take this further. I wanted to come somewhere where I knew that it was going to be done right and I can just, soak it all up. And that's what he did, man. You're right. What is he doing now? Where is Coach Sharness?
This shouldn't probably surprise a lot of people. He retired in 2017, and he always lived in Rustburg, even when he was coaching in Alta Vista. He always lived in Rustburg, and at Rustburg High, he ended up taking a part-time job with IT, and if you know the whole story there's a real funny story in that, which I won't go into right now, but he was doing that. And under Jack Baker there, he was coaching the quarterbacks for a few years. And then they've had a couple of coaching changes since, Bert Torrance and then Dustin Russell.
Yep.
And then now Dustin took the job at Brookfield for Mark Lindenberg.
Right.
But this coming year, Mike Sharness is going to be the B team coach at Rustburg High School.
Is he really? Just because he wants to be around it? Good
he
for
wants
him.
Without all the head coaching headaches and this and that. I mean, and think about that. We're talking about a man with 4 state titles, surefire Virginia State Hall of Famer, VHSL Hall of Famer. And that's how much he likes to teach the game and enjoys the game.
That's awesome, though. He can do it on his own terms, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I love that. That's cool. I'd like to get a hold of him. I hadn't talked to him in, decades. He probably wouldn't even remember who I am, but I would like to talk to him.
He's I coached, lifelong assistant, and I coached for 40 years, and I coached with a lot of good people, but he's the best head coach that I've coached under. And that's not a slight to anybody else that I coached with, but I learned more from him, just more on how to carry yourself as a coach. Everything is thought out, even when he speaks.
Yeah.
You would talk to him. There's going to be a lot of pauses, and it's not because he doesn't know what to say. He's making sure when it comes out, it's going to come out the right way.
Very smart guy. Yep. Very calculated.
And he's very calculated when he speaks, very methodical, but just a very, very good person. But
no doubt.
Well thought.
No doubt. Wayne asking you, Coach, what did you see the difference in kids from the time you were evolving to today? What do you hear? What are you when you're around them? Have kids changed as much as we think they have, or is it just the environment around them?
I think a lot of it is environment, but to me, and this goes probably more with education, the years in education, because I saw the whole spectrum, in teaching while I was teaching and everything. But to me, it's not as much the kids that are so different as it is the parents now. Hopefully I don't get skewered for saying that. But
no, it's the way it is everywhere. No,
I think kids are kids. Kids are kids, and people say, oh, the cell phones, this, and social media, this and that. Well, guess what? If we'd have had a daggone cell phone in 1970, guess what we'd be doing? And if you say, well, my parents wouldn't have let me, that would have been one of the things you would have been doing, sneaking out away from them.
The internet, the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So with all that, and you say, yeah, but we rode our bikes and we did this and we did that. Well, yeah, because that's all we had.
That's all you could do.
So if we were given more options, I know I'm not the most disciplined cat in the world, so I probably would have fallen in that rabbit hole real early. So, but yeah, I think I've talked with you about this before. I remember my dad in the 60s and 70s just talking about how the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Did not like all the changes and everything that was happening and this and that. And, 50, 60 years later, we're here, we're fine. And now I'm my dad,
I know.
And we're doing the same things. The
Do
big thing
ahead.
too, back to kids real quick. I do see a little bit of difference competitively.
Yeah, right. That's what I hear a lot too. College coaches tell me that a lot. Yeah.
I don't see that competitive drive quite as much as I used to. And when you coach at a place like here in Giles County, when you coach in places like this, these smaller towns, when we had our good Nares teams, and I'm sure, the good Giles teams 5 miles up the road, you throw a dollar bill on the floor and you're going to have 2 kids claw their eyeballs out trying to get that dollar bill type of thing. And that's something that I've seen over the years. I don't quite see that anymore. I'll sub in PE classes and stuff like that. I remember we played pickup basketball or would play basketball in gym and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes it got a little heated and sometimes it did turn into UFC.
Yeah, right.
And that was just part of it.
No, you're right. I remember Mike Jones, our former coach at Radford, used to say that, losing to kids now is just, okay, the game's over. Let me get on my phone. Let me see who I'm talking to. But he said the thing that really concerned him was winning didn't matter as much to kids either. It was like, right. And he said that was the thing that set, was taking him back, was that winning and the preparation to win was something that you almost had to coach all over again with certain generation of kids.
But if you think about that too, and it goes back to what they have seen as far as the whole winning thing. It's, you hear more about contracts. You hear more.
Yeah.
Think about it with college sports now. It's about the money. It's about how much are you going to make? Okay, if I'm going to make if I go to Tech and they're only going to pay me $750,000, but I can go to, but they might win, 10, 11 games. And then all of a sudden I go to Richmond instead, but they've got $1 million they can give me. And the kid says, well, I'm going to go to Richmond, and I'm just using that as examples. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just using that. But
no.
They see that, and then they see all the other stuff. I think in a lot of ways over the years, and it's not anything recent, and it's not anything that I would want turn political or anything, but I think with 24-hour constant entertainment and 24-hour sports, 24-hour news, 24-hour everything, we've been conditioned for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Which causes a lot of backlash now. And I'm not saying that one's right, one's wrong or anything. I'm not saying it anyway in any way, shape, or form like that. I'm just saying I think we've been conditioned. And when I say we, I'm the same way. It's just like the phones. We can moan and groan about the phones, but I know I get in a panic when I can't find mine.
Yeah, right. Right.
So,
well, it may have been Mike Young said, we used to be the motivation for kids to have acceptability, for them to feel like they had not necessarily worth, but they had accomplished something, that we were the peers. He goes, now with social media, your peers are, I make a post, oh, look how many likes this got. Look how many comments this got. So now I'm satisfied as a young person. And instead of going to practice and finding that satisfaction, now it's like, oh, crap, I've got to get off here now because we have practice coming up, right?
right.
I'm pretty sure it was Coach Young who said that during an interview. So,
And it's, I reckon, the pitfalls of evolution.
yeah.
Because if you go back to, like I say, using the example from 50, 60 years ago, I grew up in the infancy of television. And television was looked upon the same way. And it was new to us. And of course, we were glued to it. There were times, yes, we were outside playing and this and that, but there were some times that we were kicked out of the house.
Yeah.
And made to go out because you got hooked on whatever was on television at the time.
That's right.
And you sit there and you say, well, your parents would have kicked you out, this and that. Well, it comes back to today. What if your home wasn't that solid? Which that's what we have, just like in today's time. What if a kid's home isn't that strong of a home and everything? Now, they are definitely going to be influenced by whatever's out there socially, and that competitive drive. We always assume that everybody's playing with a deck of 52 cards.
Yeah, right.
And this goes back, like I said, it goes back forever. It's nothing new.
No, I'm with you 100%. I think it's not for everybody. That's why we're seeing so many established coaches get out across the country and so forth. It's something they don't even want to deal with, and it's not even necessarily the portal and the money. I think it's more the personality of the kid and how it is developed by that opportunity, the portal and the money. Yeah, I agree. Do you know Coach Reese at all, by the way? I've had people asking as we've had you on here, the new Blacksburg head coach, Philip Reese, who came in to replace Mike Leonard. Have you run across him at all?
No.
Yeah,
I know Zach pretty well. I got to talk with him a lot and was very impressed with him. And the best thing I can say about the new guy coming in is he was Zach approved.
Exactly. Zach wanted him to get the job.
So
yeah.
That to me is a plus because he was a good man and he stepped into a situation there at Blacksburg that,
yeah,
that was tough, and did a good, strong job there. And when you have a conversation with him and you talk to him, you understand why. He's a builder, and he's a builder the right way. He's going to make sure everything is done the proper way.
Well,
but I haven't had any contact with him.
Okay. Yeah, that's we're trying to get him on here soon. The AD's been out of town for a couple of weeks, but we're going to arrange that. But yeah, I think Zach he wanted to be a head coach in the place that in Roanoke. That's where he wants to be, right? That's where he wanted to be. So, and good for him. He's getting to do exactly what he wants to do. Even though it's for the rival school, he's at least going back to where he's from, right?
If you're making that drive every day up and down 81.
I know.
Which I didn't realize. I did not realize he was living in Roanoke and driving to Blacksburg every day.
Every day.
Which people say, well, that's not that long of a drive. But let me tell you, that's 25 minutes of just pure.
Yeah. It's hell. It's pure hell.
Yeah. I'm trying. We're not on pop, so I'm trying to limit what comes out of my mouth here.
No, that's fine. It is. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult. But well, good stuff, brother. So you gonna be on tomorrow night? You gonna jump on with us tomorrow night?
I will try. I'm not for sure. I sort of hate living like this, but everything is like on the fly.
That's okay. I understand.
Everything seems to be on the fly anymore, and I'm one of these guys that likes to put stuff in a calendar. And so, but yeah, I will try because I definitely enjoy that one. It's,
okay. Well, if you can jump over a little bit, just let me know. We'll be there for a while, so just let me know. So,
okay.
Yeah. And thanks for coming on today. By the way, I mentioned I was on the phone yesterday with Coach Rags. He was, you know how he is. He's very thorough. He's wanted to talk to me directly about not being able to be on this week and where he was going and all that. I said, yeah, I think we have to get Coach Mabry on with you. And he was at your clinic, and I'd really like that. Yeah, that'd be great. We'd like to do that. Yeah, you tell him that Steve said hello. Coach said hello. So I'm passing that along here to you today. So,
and we just saw each other the other day.
I know.
Real quick, when I was on Pop, I was talking about Sonny Smith at Dublin High School, being assistant coach at Dublin High School.
Right.
And for whatever reason, might have been the drink in hand or whatever, I kept saying Sonny Randall.
Sonny Randall, right.
So if you ever get a chance, go back and edit that clip.
Okay.
Because you put Sonny Randall on the title of the clip.
I think I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
I did.
It is Sonny Smith. Also, I sent you about 5 pictures.
Oh, okay.
Couple were Ragsdale at Roanoke College when they won the national championship, and the team roster. One is
cool.
Coach Ragsdale, I think an all Times Land picture or an all New River District picture, one of the two. And the last one is a Dublin football picture with Sonny Smith on the staff on Dave Brown's staff.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. This is neat. Thanks, man. I love this stuff. I love these old pictures.
Like I said, when I started doing 3 rings and started doing the newspaper dives and all that and started finding that stuff, I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Wow. Look at Steve Ragsdale wearing that Green Wave jersey, man. Wow.
That's what we need to get him on. Talk about Coach Pattison, playing for Coach Pattison.
Yes, we do.
And then going home to his dad. I bet those would be some real interesting stories there.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. That looks great. Thanks, man. I appreciate those. Appreciate those a bunch. And thanks for jumping on today, brother. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night. If not, have a good weekend. And we'll resume here soon.
You too.
All right, Coach. Stay safe, man.
All right. See you.
All right, man. There you go. Coach David Mabry joined us. Great stuff from him. Somehow I think he'll be on tomorrow night. He'll jump on for a little bit. Big Dog Papa will come back tomorrow night around 6:45. We'll jump on again. We went back, from the original watches, and I get also additional information when people go back. I think got over 600 some views, reviews and stuff. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Also pretty cool. Don't forget what Professional Door is offering you, the customer, because they are very community related. Of course, they're the sponsor of our text line, but for 40 years now here in July, they've been in business. Travis Williams and his dad started it, and he's built it up to this wonderful, just continued evolution. And they want to give back to the customer this month, all month long. You have until the 31st. And all you have to do is call them up at 674-0008 and say, hey, you heard us talking about it on BDST. There's supposedly $40 off of any service or visit. And they say, yep. When do you want to get it done? Great people, great environment, and go up and you can do it in person or you can just call them 674-0008. But you have to mention you heard us talking about it here on the show. $40. You can't beat it. NRV Super Bowl, we'll be having the bash there a week from this Saturday. Come on by and see us, 540-382-5525. I know Coach Elmo is going to be there. I think Mike Burmp's going to try to make it out. Some other folks, we're trying to see if we can get them there. Jen, I'm not sure. We'll see. But we appreciate everything Terry and Amanda is going to do for us and Morris and what he's arranged. It's going to be great. That place has been there for over 25 years, and they've just taken it, advanced it along. You can never go to the NRV Super Bowl and not feel better about your decision. Sundown Electric down in Elliston, one of the most reputable businesses in our area. The Smith brothers keeping another father's tradition alive, though, at Sundown. They try to keep costs down, and again, it's very rare to find nothing. Sometimes you see a lot of positive reviews, but they have nothing but 5 stars. It's bizarre in a good way, and good for them. It shows you they're doing it right, and we thank them for their support. ReadySetFund.com is Bob Christ, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. And it's a series of text messages. Your school group organization can raise money very quickly. Check them out, reach out to Bob, or go read them up on the website. Or read up about them on the website. You know, I speak for a living. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST, and my exclusive banking partner, thanks to Lara Ramsey. 35 years I've been with them, and they just helped me with my refinancing, and it was wonderful. BDST fan question of the week. It's been fun this week because it involves me. Brought to you by the attorney Ryan Pry, 701 West Main Street. I think it was Brandon in chat that brought it up. So I went with it, and we've asked, what sport would you like to hear me call that's something out of the norm? And curling is winning. Bowling is in second. I'd love to do bowling. That'd be fun. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Give Charles Lee a call. Tell him you heard us talking about it. They're the best. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, the sponsor, presenting sponsor of this program. I don't know what else you can say about them. They're winning awards now. And I'm going to try to get up there tomorrow to check out the Sportsplex and hopefully have video up on the site. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic. I'm going there today around lunch. And hopefully we can figure out a way to get video of me going through the gauntlet. Best chiropractic in the business. Go see him. And Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio here in Reiner. Thanks to Jason Green. They're the best. They want to come by and give you your privacy, whatever you might need. 540-200-8294. And we thanks to all of our wonderful sponsors, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply at 381-8011, 300 North Franklin Street, and Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel, 4377 Lee Highway. Mud wrestling. That would have to be late night, after hours broadcasting. Mud wrestling. That was a thing for a while, wasn't it? Remember in the movie Stripes? Remember that? Ox, John Candy got in there and was mud wrestling. Terry, the show is Beard Meets Food, MEATS. He was asking me about what I was talking about earlier. That dude has over 7 million subscribers, and his videos get about 12 million views. Unbelievable. I didn't like Old School. I think that's a stupid movie. Yeah, never liked Old School. Tried to watch it once. I got about halfway through it, and I said, this is just stupid. I didn't like Old School. No, a lot of people did, but I did not. Seniors Pickleball with Dave Matthews music playing. All right, here we go. Here goes Esther now. She's going for a service winner here. And in the background, all you hear is, yeah, I didn't mind Step Brothers, but I think Old School was a really crappy movie. Will Ferrell only goes a small way, especially what he's evolved into. I like him in Anchorman a lot, a whole lot. Golf with Neil as your analyst. Now, Neil wouldn't do that. Yeah. He'll be too busy doing something with soccer. Hey, I would call golf. I would call golf. Absolutely. I could sit there and do that whisper. You know, I would have to have a golf analyst, you know, since I don't know a hell of a lot about anything that goes into it since I don't play it, but I could do the play-by-play for golf. I could do that easily. No, I'm not watching. No, Mike on the text line. So did you watch any of Egypt's match yesterday? No, I did not. Look, I was barely interested when Team USA was still alive. You think I'm paying any attention now? Yeah, there you go, Brandon. That'd be the one you and I need to do. That would be the one that you and I need to call. Bob Black's going to join us, the voice of the Richmond Spiders, coming up. It's always great to catch up with Bob. Andy Bitter's still traveling. I think he might be in California. He's somewhere else tomorrow. Everybody getting in their vacation time. So I don't know what tomorrow's show looked like yet. David Smith, Hope Dwight. I can't remember if Dwight's traveling. You know, hey, it's what summertime's for. This World Cup has shown how embarrassing the flopping is. Yep, it has been, along with the officiating, it has been something that has kind of overshadowed a lot. Correct. Because now it's on full display. You're seeing it from all corners of the world in one spot here in the U.S. And, of course, you have constant coverage. And I believe it is the one element of soccer that prevents it from ever taking any kind of serious steps forward. On the men's side. And I'm going to pay very close attention this year. And even off the top of my head, I cannot recall seeing it on the women's side. Brandon, you worked a lot of soccer games down at Radford. I don't see flopping on the women's side. Electric football gets a bad rap. Just because people didn't know how to use it. I left a message once. The gentleman who does Super 70 Sports on X, it's one of the best accounts on X. He's great. And he put up, no toy has ever looked like it was going to have the payoff of a lifetime turn out to be the most least impressive, something like that. But you could get a playbook. You just had to line them up and understand when a guy was tackled and all that. It wasn't just, and what it was, people would leave the motor up. And we're not talking about a handheld game, by the way. We're talking about electric football, the metal boards. I'll talk about it with Mike Ashley on Friday. And you would turn it on. It would have that, you're right. And the guys would move around. It was great. It was one of the best. It was one of the best things ever. You see, people would leave the motor up too long, and they would hop around and vibrate all over the place. But no, not if you knew what you were doing. And that's how I got started. I was broadcasting. I would set up the play, and then I would do that. Absolutely. But thanks again, everybody. Chat is always popping. It's great. So we'll be over at Mark's today, and we'll see how that works out with me getting chiropractic. Joining us now on the program, there he is. He is the legendary voice of the Richmond Spiders. His name is Bob Black. What's up, Double B? How you doing, brother?
I pop up and hear about you going to a chiropractor. What's going on here, Rick?
Well, we have McClellan Chiropractic sponsor of our chat room, and I've wanted to go over there. You know, everything's so advanced; they don't even have to touch you now, right? They just kind of, they just put you, they put you in these diagnostic things and these machines, and they just set it, and then you're. So I'm looking forward to trying that out and see what it's like today.
Please report back to me on that. Not that it's in my future, I hope, but please report back to me on that.
I will. How's your summer going now that you've taken off from the radio show for a while?
Yeah. Really nice. You know, as you know, it's a quiet time in college athletics. Well, it's never a quiet time in college athletics, but relatively speaking, it's a quiet time before everything gets going here in August for us with football. So it's been nice. A lot of R&R, which recharges the batteries, you know.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you talked about this a little bit last time about how Richmond structures things with your football and your basketball program. I know how much passion there is around your basketball program, but there's a nice little ecosystem there, isn't it? Because you have to have a different mindset as a mid-major. As I know at Radford, as a lower mid-major, what we have to kind of go through. But it seems like there's more, even though the resources aren't as great as the power schools, there kind of seems to be more of a common bind there, doesn't it? With because you have to do it for strictly survival.
Exactly. That was going to be my point, is that right now you got to keep up with the Joneses who are at the top of the ecosystem, to use your word. And I think Richmond basketball, and I don't know the numbers, Rick, I really don't, but I think I can tell by the players that they've added, who they've added, how many they've added, coaching staff that's been expanded, that they've upped their game. I mean, because the top of the Atlantic 10 in our conference has upped its game. And so Richmond has upped its game. I don't know if that's going to translate or not onto the court. I was just talking about that exact thing with somebody in the Robbins Center yesterday, that, we've upped our game, but so has everybody else that we really want to compete against at the top, at least, of the Atlantic 10.
Well, and it's nice, Coach Mooney's been there. I mean, to have that understand, okay, well, we know what's is going on here. We're not worried about the power level, what's going on in our league. Now, unfortunately for us, High Point can play a totally different game, being the private school. They can just kind of do whatever they want, and everybody else is like, wow, how are we going to keep up with that? But you're right. In your conference, you have to keep up with the Jimmies and the Joes, right?
Well, and I think the top three of those are a little bit what you're talking about with High Point. But I think in our league, we look at Dayton, we look at St. Louis, and we look at our crosstown rival, VCU, as the top three money spenders and, schools that have invested the most, particularly in men's basketball. And those are the schools that you point to. And in our conference with 14 teams, I think you want to be in the top 5 or 6. And I don't know that we are. I really don't. But I do think by what I've seen with the players they've brought in, the players that they have kept, that they needed to keep, I think that has shown the fan base. And we're coming off of 2 tough years, right? Two underwhelming seasons. But I think they've shown the fan base in the offseason that they're serious about getting better. Whether that happens on the court or not, I don't know. But I think they've brought in better players. They've kept the players that everybody pointed to and said, wow, for them to be serious about this, they better keep these guys. And they did. Our non-conference schedule just came out, and it is not great still, but it is significantly better than it was last year. So I think that's another sign to the fan base that Richmond basketball is serious about trying to compete at this level.
Would you still consider Richmond definitely a basketball school, even though you have the football program as well that's been successful?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you, the other sport that really has burst on the scene here is men's lacrosse, which has done extremely well. They were actually ranked number 1 in the country for a couple of weeks this season. Unfortunately, they got their first ever NCAA playoff home game, but lost to Duke. So that created a buzz around campus, and we've put significant resources now into men's lacrosse as well. Now, one of the things with men's lacrosse, and you know this because Radford doesn't have the men's side, is there aren't very many schools playing it.
That's right.
That's the reason Richmond joined, to play men's lacrosse in the first place. But then on the flip side of that, there aren't many teams playing. There's only about 75 schools that have men's lacrosse programs. But anyway, kind of a winding road to answer your question. Yes, men's basketball is still the top dog. Women's basketball, which has been so successful the past 3 years with 3 straight NCAA appearances, is has significant resources invested in that program. Football is a different creature because that's not, we're not paying our athletes on the football front beyond what, you normally can do with a scholarship and cost of living and that sort of thing, but we're not paying them. But that's still a big deal here. So yes, basketball and specifically men's basketball is still the flag waving sport for the Richmond Spiders.
As we get a little older, do we just always sound like get off our lawn type of guys when we look around sports and see? Like the other day, I was set off by the pitcher for the Marlins that had the perfect game going after 7 innings out in Oakland, and the crowd at that point, they were down 8-0. They didn't care, and they take him out after 92 pitches, and they have all these. Here comes the analytics guys saying this is why we had to do it. Instead of, can you imagine Bob Gibson being told, "Hey, you're over 90 pitches and you got a perfect game going, 21 up, 21 down. We're going to need you to come on out now." And how easily he just handed the ball over. Here you go. I'm done. Here you go.
Gotten softer, Rick. Gotten softer. I mean, I wonder if that decision, that game was on the road, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if that game had been at home, if that would have influenced that decision at all, or if the analytics are the analytics. But hey, our crowd paid good money. They're behind us. They support us. They're in a spot to see history here. If he can get 2 more innings out of it, and 92 pitches in this day and age really shouldn't be a red flag kind of, not, at least I don't think. I don't know the specific circumstances behind, what they were doing there. But man, that would have been a disappointment to me if I had spent money and been in the ballpark and had gotten that close and had it taken away for that reason. I guess I'll be that older guy. Thanks for reminding me, by the way, that I'm getting older. I appreciate it. The summer had been going pretty good until that happened. I would have been. I'm a big baseball guy, and I go to enough games during the summer that if I go to the ballpark, and you never know what you're going to see at the ballpark. That's the old adage about baseball. I would have been pretty disappointed if a manager yanked a guy with a perfect game in the 8th inning and less than 100 pitches.
Well, I mean, I look around today, and it seems like with all the analytics and all the advances in health and technology, and athletes can train different ways now than ever before, nothing seems to be better than when it used to be, right? I don't know. I just mean the overview of it all. I thought college football looked pretty good last year in the portal. So the portal kind of has changed that in a good way in terms of the on-field product, but I don't think the NFL's as good. I know baseball's not as good. I certainly know the NBA is not nearly as good, right? What's happening?
I had this fight all the time with Matt Josephs, my former co-host on our afternoon show before I hung up that nice looking mic that you've got there. Maybe if I had a mic as nice as that one, I wouldn't have hung up. And our argument was always, he loved Saturdays and he loved the games, and the games were still great. And I was like, but Matt, it's everything else that's a mess right now. And he's like, well, you're too close to it because you're in college athletics. You work for a school and you know what's going on the inside. But for the rest of us that just love the games, this has been a great season. The games have been competitive. They've been great. I watch them every Saturday and the college football playoff and all that. And I'm like, but Matt, at some point, it's going to unravel off of the field. Maybe not on the field and maybe not yet. But at some point, unless somebody does something about it, it's going to unravel.
It is. And I think there's something to that. We do kind of know things that, a lot of fans do not know. We get, and I'm sure you do, everybody, we have all these different agencies that have been hired to kind of monitor betting. And we get those reports every month, like all the other schools. And what I see on there, I just kind of go, are you kidding me right now? Especially at our level. And these are things that aren't public knowledge necessarily. I don't know why they're not, but I think there is something to that to a certain degree that you and we are closer to it, and we kind of can see the bare bones of it a little bit more clearly.
Yeah, no, but I think that's important to hear what we have to say. Rather than just have the tunnel vision of every Saturday I'm going to, watch great college football, so everything's great. Well, that's not the case. it's hard. It's a hard argument to say, wait a minute, I'm enjoying this. This is great college football or great college basketball. What's the matter? I don't mind guys are moving around to different teams, I kind of whatever. But I this has still got to find a way to a solution at some point. I know a lot of people and a lot of industries are trying, but I don't think we're getting there yet.
Well, and to Prometheus in chat, kind of my point a minute ago, injuries are more prevalent than ever. And I know people say the athletes are bigger than stronger, but why hasn't the training, why hasn't the buildup, why hasn't the nutrition, why hasn't that helped offset that more? Because he's right. It's an epidemic now with the injuries. We had, I mean, heck, I'm walking around. We just got, a lot of our athletes are coming back now. I'm sure this is at your place. And I'm walking around the training room. It looked like a MASH unit. And I'm like, you guys are this busy. And they said, yeah, 20 some kids in there already,
I don't know that we're ever going to cure that. I think injuries, unfortunately, they're the worst part, as Chris Mooney says all the time, because he's had his share of them with players. Injuries are the worst part of athletics. And I don't know how good the technology gets, whether it's your chiropractor or not. We're still going to have injuries. We're still going to have torn ACLs and rotator cuffs and all of that. I don't know that technology and money is going to solve that part of the equation. And then that does become, as you said, it's a big deal, particularly in the betting world now. Like now, I don't know if the Big South does that, but I know the Atlantic 10 does. We put out injury reports, twice before every game, once, whatever it is, 12 hours, and then another one 2 hours before every game. And the reason why that's there. It's not for the other team to know who's playing and who's not. They can figure that out. It's for the bettors to know.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. And I think a lot of the mid-major involvement we see across the country is because of things like that. The more knowledge they have, I'm not surprised to see it evolving. The Sorsby situation is kind of made, I think, a lot of people rethink how they look at this and understand how serious this thing can be. And I'll never understand why he thought, Bob, to me, that he could be back, just allowed back in, why Texas Tech fought it, and why they ever thought the NFL would even think about bringing him in. He said he made 100 bets before he got out of bed certain mornings. I mean, are you kidding me? But yet they thought this guy was going to be rehabilitated after 2 months. I mean, it was just a bad message, I thought, that was sent all the way around. And thank goodness the Big 12 actually said, no, we're not letting this happen, guys.
Which is kind of amazing, right? Because I think in this era of everything goes the players' way and freedom of movement, I know I'm going to sound like the old guy we were talking about, but the players won every case, right? They won virtually every case. And I mean, the one that's out there now is this 5 years to play 5 seasons. And the guys who just missed by a year, who are now like suing because they want that year, well, they're done. Unfortunately, that's when they were born, and that's when their eligibility ended, and that's when the new rules started. And I'm sorry, but that's the real world, and that's life. And I'm glad the Sorsby one thing, and that was just coming towards a conclusion when I finished up on the afternoon show.
Right.
Right. And I was afraid he was going to be back playing college football this year. I'm glad he's not. I was really, to be honest with you, kind of surprised the NFL took that stand as well on him. Now we'll see what happens in another year, but you got to pay the price sometime, and it's a tough lesson to learn. And hopefully he rehabilitates and he can go on and play eventually professionally, but not right now.
Yeah, I agree. And that was very unique. The NFL just said, regardless of what noise comes our way, we're not going to have the draft. We're not going to give them anybody the opportunity to bring him in. I thought that was a very strong stand against it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. Like I said, I'm actually surprised by both of them, but pleased that the college level took the stance that it took and actually won at that level. And again, I hope he gets rehabilitated and maybe he has a chance to play in the NFL down the road, but too soon right now. And so that's one that I was glad to see went the way it did. I don't know that the meter is going to keep moving in that direction or not. I just think there's still too much power amongst the players in this whole thing. But that one, I think, had the right ending. And for him, Rick, I think that was the right ending for him.
I do too. As
well, to rehabilitate and eventually, play. He's still got years that he can play.
No question. Because if you continue to fail doing that, we know what that can do in creating people's heads about life and so forth. So that's what you worry about, the individual himself. The heck with his football career.
Yeah,
I mean,
Texas Tech will be fine. I mean, Texas Tech will
yeah.
find somebody else. They've got the money. They'll pay another premier quarterback to play football for them.
What's your take on the U.S. and how they've hosted the World Cup? Do you get into the World Cup at all?
No, not at all. I mean, I am publicly on your airwaves. I'll say it, but my friends all know it. I am not a soccer guy at all.
I know.
So
I get it. I get it.
I understand it. I understand the passion around it, particularly from other countries where, look, other countries, that's their sport. That's their premier sport. I'll tick off all the soccer fans in Richmond and your area and wherever anybody's listening or watching. But soccer is not America's sport. It's not. I mean, we know it's football, and beyond that, it's probably basketball and it's baseball, and there are other. Like, I've enjoyed watching Wimbledon. I don't mind. I like that, but I'm not a soccer guy. So. I'm a United States guy and patriotic as anybody else.
Sure.
But it didn't move my needle much when they won, and it didn't move my needle much when they lost.
What I hope moves the needle is the fact that it seems like the Players Union, the NFL, has taken notice that, hey, wait a minute, you're flying in. We got all these grass stadiums now being implemented. What about us, right? They've ruled a long time ago their players aren't playing on anything but grass, right? Because they've done the research. Well, NFL players are saying, wait a minute, what about you putting us right back on this plastic? I mean, what are we going to do? And don't tell me the NFL doesn't have money. I'm hoping that's the one good thing about the U.S. hosting the World Cup is that the NFL finally will say, we got to go back to grass field.
Boy, that's a great point, Rick. I had not thought of that because I think enough, I don't know if jokes is the right word, were made, over all these stadiums that have corporate names on them that for the World Cup, they couldn't be called MetLife Stadium or they couldn't be called Lincoln Financial Field. It had to be, New York Stadium or New Jersey Stadium, fill it up, because they stripped it of all the corporate advertising. But what they also did was put real grass and all that. Like Lincoln already had it. But the one that everybody complained about is MetLife up in Jersey. To get rid, that's a great point, Rick. Why not just leave that grass surface down? Treat it the way you need to treat it to become an NFL field and make it great. That's a great. If that happens, maybe I'll become a little bit of a soccer fan because it helped our real sport of football. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Well, every owner's a billionaire. The NFL makes more billions every year than they did the year before. Don't tell me it's about cost, right? You can afford it. The Broncos every year change their grass out midway through the season. They put in brand new grass. Is it costly? Sure. They have the richest owners in the NFL with Mr. Walton, but I'm just saying, if you cared about the employees that have made you this premier business in the world, right, sporting business in the world, you seem like you can make a little bit of a gesture toward them. Say, if this is what you want, then by God, this is what you're going to get. So
I think it would make the game better, right? And I think some of the star players who go out with injuries because they occurred on the turf won't be going out. We talked about injuries earlier. Maybe that is a way to help prevent them a little bit. And even the indoor stadiums, I think they have figured out ways, to grow grass and keep it alive and keep it, where it needs to be, even in indoor stadiums, even if it means changing it out 2 or 3 times a year. Like you said, they've got the money and the wherewithal to do that. That's one I agree with you. I would love to see that in all NFL stadiums, all Major League Baseball stadiums, and I think even in the indoor facilities, I think they're starting to figure how to grow grass. So that would be a good positive out of this, if nothing else.
Well, you would think.
Yeah.
Hey, I had a couple people on our professional door text line and chat. They said it's interesting to hear Bob say that Richmond didn't pay football player. I guess they want you to elaborate on that mindset. Like, why is basketball thought of a certain way and why is football handled that way?
Great question. So for football, Richmond's Division I, but it's FCS, which is the level just below FBS. And I don't know that it's tried and true through all of FCS, but I think it's pretty close. I don't think any of us are paying our football players in the terms that we're talking about here, like writing them a direct check from the University of Richmond to the quarterback, from VMI to the quarterback. We've all bought into this, to the house settlement, and I think we're directly paying men's basketball players and to some extent women's basketball players, but that's it. Now, a football player at Richmond can still go out and cut his own NIL deal, and Richmond can still help him do that to make some money that way. But as far as directly paying our football players, we're not the only sports we're directly paying are men's and women's basketball. I mentioned lacrosse a moment ago. Even lacrosse, we're not directly yet paying those athletes, just men's and women's basketball. And the demarcation line there is that our football program is FCS and not FBS.
And the key to that departmentally is communication, right? You bring all the coaches together and say, when you're here, this is how we're going to approach this. You can go out and raise all the money you want, do what you need to do to help your programs. But this is our stance on it. And thank you. You're upfront about it. This is the way we go. So nobody's surprised by any of that.
Correct. Now, a little glimmer of hope here. The one thing that does happen at our level is we lose guys to FBS schools that are good, are really good players. And I get some of that. The FBS schools come along and say, look, challenge yourself now at the highest level, and you'll also make some money. So 2 years ago, we got ravaged. We lost, I think, 11 starters, but they all went to FBS schools. It's kind of hard to kick. I don't like it, but that's the rules now. They should be able to play by those rules, and they did. Now, last year, and maybe, cynically, I would say we weren't quite as good last year, so we didn't have as many players that could play at the FBS level. We didn't lose as many, and we had two guys, Rick, both defensive starters, both from the Richmond area, who put their name in the portal, looked around about, kicked the can down the road, maybe an FBS, and at the end of the day, they came back. They elected not to go to any of the FBS schools. Maybe they didn't have any offers. I doubt that, because they're really good players. Both are co-captains, and they're back to play for Richmond this year. That was a little bit of a glimmer of hope, And the other part of that is how our coaches handle it. Because I think when this thing first started, when the football player walked into the head coach's office and said, I think I'm going to transfer portal, he was like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Get out. Goodbye.
Right. Yeah.
We're all figuring that out. You take it a little personal. Now, when he comes in to the head coach's office, they have a conversation about it. And he looks at the depth chart and says, you know what? We could still use you, but go ahead, go take a look. See what's out there and come back and to your point, the communication. Before you do anything, come back. Let's chat a little more. And I think that helped bring some guys back to us that otherwise might have had a one-way ticket out the door. So I do think we're learning some things about the process and the system. But that was a little bit of a glimmer of hope, at least in our case, that we brought two of our premier players who've already played 4 years at Richmond. They've got their degree, and they're coming back to play a fifth season as co-captains. And the other important part, they're both local guys. They're both from Patrick Henry, Patrick Henry Roanoke, Patrick Henry Ashland, and very popular, very good players. 3-year starters. So there is a glimmer of hope that maybe some sense is being made somewhere.
Did you have much retention at all with men's basketball? Because I know we did not at Radford. So how was the retention from your roster a year ago?
Yeah, so I would say we had quality, not quantity. The one guy that they really pointed to was our freshman point guard, Aiden Argabright, who's a Northern Virginia guy, but spent his last 2 years of high school at John Marshall here in Richmond, one of the premier high school programs in the state, if not the country. And he was on the all rookie team, second leading scorer, 11 points a game, leading assist guy, probably could have gone somewhere, and they brought him back. And so that was the first tip to me from the initial part of our conversation, Rick, was that Richmond was spending some money this year. Because the only way Richmond was keeping Aiden was to pay him, quite frankly. Sure. I mean, he wanted to be here. He loved it. He loved the people, educate, all of that. But at the end of the day, what's the check that you're cutting? And he was the first of this transfer portal to stay. And I think that made, headlines in the community with the program, with fans. Absolutely. That Richmond was paying. So he, again, we have a 4th-year guy, believe it or not, Colin Tanner, who stayed also. I'm very impressed by that. I mean, he was 1 year away from getting his degree. He's going to get his degree at Richmond. He will play. He'll be part of the rotation. But then, we lost, 5 guys probably. The only thing I will say, I love all of them, due respect to them. None of them went to big-time programs, Rick. They all went to programs either at our level or maybe even a little bit below our level. So quality-wise, I think we kept what we wanted to. Quantity, I think we're in the same boat you. I think we have 6 transfers and 4 freshmen. So that's 10 newcomers out of 16 players. So that's a lot, like you guys.
Well, I love to hear that story. That if you're going to spend money, it's to keep one of your own guys.
Yeah.
That's it's a feel good story today, isn't it? It really is.
And I've always thought there should be a separate budget for retention. Like you should have a budget where you got to go out and get guys from whatever schools you're going to get them. But maybe there's a separate pot here of what's called retention money, so that you can keep the Aiden Argabrights of the world or your leading scorer who still has a whatever, to try and keep some of these guys on their roster so they don't become so transient. I think that frustrates the fan bases more than anything, is that they just don't get to know these guys because, now we're happy, Rick, if they stay 2 years. In the old days, they were all 4-year guys. And if they left after 2, we were upset about that. Now, if we keep them for 2, we're like, yeah, we kept our guy for 2 years. We'll see what happens with Aiden. I assume if he has an all-conference year and he's going to be a junior, that, Virginia's only 60 miles down the road, or Maryland's only 90 miles up the road, or whatever, that someone's going to – that's just the way it is now. Someone's going to be calling for him after next year.
No, you're right. And let's see here. There we go. Had a little internet problem there. And for us, like you and I too, I know I've always enjoyed following that kid who was a freshman to senior, how the young man develops. He may come to you for some advice along the way, and then they grab their degree. And now we're resigned. I know, Bob, I just go into it every year. Okay, this is this year's team. I'm not looking beyond that final game when that final shot's taken and the buzzer sounds, right? Because I don't know whether I'm going to see this kid again or not. So
I keep going back to a quote I heard when all this was beginning from one of the great coaches in the Atlantic 10 who has kind of got pushed out and has since retired, and that's Mark Schmidt at St. Bonaventure. And he's the first one who said, we no longer build programs, we just build teams. And I got it right away. And to what you just said, just year after year, we just build a new team and we never really have a program anymore. And I think we're still spinning our wheels in that, maybe it'll get better moving down the road. But I think right now it's exactly the same. We build teams for the 25 season, the 26 season, the 27, but we don't, we think we have a program. We call it a program, but there's no common thread from year 1 to year 4 or year 5 anymore.
No, I like that. I think that's exactly correct. You're not building programs anymore. It's just all about trying to build the business model. What's your business model like here at LSU or Alabama, right? That's our business model now.
Hey, speaking of business model, I'll give you a little bit of a juicy rumor that I think could be a good thing. I mentioned earlier that we've released our non-conference schedule. Well, one of the things that I do think is a good thing in college basketball now are these exhibition games that you can now play ahead of the regular season. Like we played James Madison last year in an exhibition game. It was one of the best games of the season, to be honest with you. And Richmond's going back to JMU to return the favor this year as an exhibition game. I think there's an argument to be made. Why aren't they playing a regular season game? That's probably a conversation for another day. But I did hear a rumor, unsubstantiated, Rick, that Richmond and Radford might be getting together for an exhibition game. Might, rumor, don't write it in stone, in ink. But, and that would be a kind of a cool thing because I think they're trying to find 2 or 3 exhibition games to play before the start of the year. And that could maybe get our paths to cross somewhere along the way.
That would be great. Yeah, it would make sense because, Zach Chu was a walk-on down at Richmond grad. So
right. And I think that would make sense. I think that's the only way that Chris would play that game. I think Zach would play it as a regular season game if he could, but I don't think Chris Mooney wants to, play guys that he coached in a regular season game, or friends, that kind of thing. So, that's a good thing. And, hopefully sometime in October, the Spiders and Highlanders paths will cross and we'll get it. And I would hope, to be honest with you, that would be at Richmond so that Zach could come back, to the Robbins Center. I think it would be kind of a cool thing. But I don't think there's anything etched in stone there. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I do think I did hear a little bit of a whisper that a Richmond Radford exhibition game could happen.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd help both teams. And hey, you and I could jump on and do a mock broadcast together. It'd be great.
I love that. Make it a home football weekend for me, though, Rick. I got to,
that's right.
Got to squeeze those in around those football. But I would love to do that. Play it on play it on a Friday night when the Spiders are home on Saturday. That'd be a great weekend. That'd be fun.
Would be.
Sometime in October, that would be cool. I would
Absolutely.
like. So there are some good things. So for both of us, Rick, we're not the two men, yelling at everybody to get off our lawn. There are some good things.
There are some good things. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, Bob, great stuff as always, man. It's always fun to visit with you. I appreciate you jumping on this morning. We'll catch up again soon.
Always love it when I see that Rick Watson text come, and I know, okay, I'm going to get to be on the show again. So keep them coming. I'm here whenever you'd like, for sure. It's fun.
All right, brother. Well, enjoy the rest of July, and we'll talk here again very soon, man. Stay warm.
Sounds good, Rick. Thanks. Enjoy the summer.
Take care, man. All right, you too. You too. Bob Black, longtime voice of the Richmond Spiders. Great stuff from him. And he's always got a great perspective on it because, it's similar levels, but, the A-10 in basketball is really, really strong, as he mentioned, and you got to keep up with the Joes. And the Big South is a level down from that. We know that, but it's the same structurally, if you will, and trying to keep up. But good, always a great perspective, and I think it helps people try to keep up with how things are working, regardless if you're a Tech fan, UVA fan, if you're, a smaller school fan. Good stuff. Good stuff. Great stuff today. Thanks to Keon Brown. Always great to catch up with KB, Coach Mabry, and Bob Black. Tomorrow, it will be the Thursday edition, and we'll see how that looks. I know we're going to go through the NFC North with the best analyst in the biz from the National Football League, David Smith, and I think Dwight is good to go. I know Andy is still traveling, so we won't have him tomorrow, but we'll see what else may pop up. Don't forget, reach out to Travis Williams, Professional Door this month. $40 off your visit to get your garage doors preventative maintenance done. Schedule it in July. Tell them you heard about us talking about it here. Thanks to everybody in chat. We'll have some short videos up on the channel, so you can go back and watch some of the highlights from today's show. Please subscribe, like, and share. And thanks to our sponsors. And we'll see you tomorrow on the Thursday edition. We helped you slide over the hump a little bit better, everybody. Take